Welcome back to another episode of Georgia Sports Nation. We got some more Hawks and Braves content on the way for you guys tonight. We're going to be doing a quick recap of the Diamondback series. Last week, the Braves won the series in the desert. They take 2 out of 3, bouncing back after that Oakland series from a good team in Arizona. And Eddie Rosario with that game-winning clutch, 2 outs in the top of the ninth, grand slam to put us over the top and get that series win. We had a happy off-day flight, and then we get back home and break out the brooms against the division rival New York Mets. Huge series, and when you have the Mets on a 6-game losing streak like they're on now, and you just beat them 3 games in a row, and the Mets had a 3-run lead in each of those 3 games, they have to be off the rails as far as just their morale and stuff. So great stuff from the Braves. Keeping pace ahead of them and the Marlins as well, who are playing good baseball. And we're also going to be previewing the series quickly starting tonight with the Washington Nationals as we have A.J. Smith-Shawver making his debut at the starting mound in the MLB. So we'll see how that goes tonight. Looking forward to that. And as well, towards the end, if we have some time, we'll maybe look at some early draft looks, who the Hawks might get, and what type of player the Hawks should draft, whether that be a high upside, high risk, a low upside plug-and-play player who has a decent floor. Who knows? So we'll be discussing that at the end, but without further ado, let's get into it. We'll start with Ant. What did you think of the Diamondback series just overall as far as how the Braves responded after that terrible Oakland series?
The pitching came back, a little bit. And our offense, man, I mean, we already know that they from top to bottom they are the deepest in the whole league. But in that Diamondback series, they showed. I mean, they'll miss something, but then later on in either in the bat or in later on in the game, don't even it just picks up.
Yeah.
Like,
Will, what were your thoughts about that Diamondback series? Will, you there?
Yeah, man, it was a little frustrating that time because the offense woke up late. But when they woke up, man. They put runs on the board fast in the late innings. But then the pitching staff will make you, Braves like giving you heart attacks. I don't know what's going on with that, but we're gonna have to talk about that. We'll have to sit down and talk, and we're gonna have a good little talk with Snicker or something. Hey, too many heart attacks ain't good for me. I'm too young for that. You know what I mean? So but yeah, like the offense, we could have really swept the Diamondbacks too.
Yeah,
we could have really just swept them too.
Yeah, we should have. I mean?
So like we didn't take advantage of the opportunities we had. We showed again we were terrible with runners in scoring position. We left so many men on base during that series, man. It's crazy. But they did show up late. This team still showing that they got that never quit mentality, and they still showing it as they showed it in the Mets series. But we ain't gonna jump to that yet. But go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, and then that Diamondback series, and really this stems to the Oakland series back almost a week ago. The offense really started struggling with runners in scoring position. I know Matt Olson has struggled mightily at the last few games with runners in scoring position.
Yeah,
specifically, but the pitching held us in those games in Arizona. They really did it. But besides that first game, the pitching did enough to where the offense was able to try and come back and give you a chance to win the game. And I think that's what you need as a team. In this Mets series, which we're going to go over soon, you had the pitching staff falter a little bit throughout especially the starting pitching throughout the 3-game series, but the offense exploded. So when you have one portion of your team picking up another, that's when you have, okay, I may give up 4 runs, 5 runs in an inning like Strider did, but I know I have an offense that's going well right now and who's going to have my back. And that's really what I felt like the entire Diamondbacks and Mets series was, except for that first game in the desert. Ronald
And
Acuna.
yeah, that's one
Go
thing I
ahead.
like about them. Like, even when the pitchers be having like a bad game, they try to stretch out 5 to 6 innings, try to save the bullpen a little bit. So, and just like you said, they complement each other, you know what I mean? If one of them bad, the other one picks up. So yeah, I do like that part.
Yeah.
And speaking of picking up, you know who's been picking up lately? AJ Minter, and really the rest of the bullpen. Michael Tonkin, we got him back from the IL. AJ Minter, Nick Anderson, both been pitching really well. Raisel Iglesias has looked lights out since that A's appearance when he walked the bases loaded. So the bullpen's getting healthy. Like I said before, you really need to focus on AJ Minter, and Michael Harris, who are both bouncing back after horrible starts to the season. This team is really taking shape. But what I was going to say before, Ronald Acuna, another 460-plus foot home run at Arizona. And that ball that he crushed, I remember I saw Jorge Soler hit one earlier this year. He hit one there, and I was like, holy cow, nobody's ever going to touch there again. And Ronald just did it. Just did it. He never ceases to amaze you. He really doesn't.
Easy. That's easy money for him. I mean, it looks effortless for him. Like, he's so strong, and he hits it on the sweet spot every single time, and the ball just carries off his bat. Like, it's like nothing.
Yeah, it's insane. And what I really find the most exciting part about just his swing and his mechanics are his hands. He holds them right in front of him. So you'd think that, he's got tired, the bat is here, his arms get tired, but his hands are lightning quick. He gets those inside pitches and turns on them down the line for homers. He'll push the ball past the third baseman for a double. We saw that in the Mets series a couple times. So just what Ronald's doing now is amazing, and I definitely think he's the front runner, has to be the front runner for MVP in the National League right now.
Oh, I think he is. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah. Will, would you agree?
Yeah, that man having the time of his life right now.
Yeah.
Ronald Acuna is having the time of his life, boy. And Brian Snigger letting them have a little fun now. You know what I mean? He really letting them show their personalities. This team is able to show their personalities right now. And
You think?
besides Ozuna getting in trouble for like staring at that long single, everything else, you know what I'm saying? He pretty much preaching to him, if you gonna stare at it, you better make sure it's gone.
Yeah,
you better make sure it's gone. You better not have no doubt.
I was actually going to get to that next because, yes, I'm going to preface this by saying Ozuna should definitely have run out. He should have been on second easily.
Yes.
Should have been on second.
Yes.
But when you hit a ball 109 miles per hour off the bat and goes 415 feet and don't hit a homer, that is just criminal. I know that's the nature of baseball. That's Arizona Diamondback Stadium. They have
Arizona for you.
But that's just crazy. I definitely want Marcell to run there. And if you saw in the Mets series the game after, he almost tried to score on a wild pitch from second base. He was running these 3 games. He was running.
Yeah, when he got a chance to come back in, he made sure he ran. I'm talking about he didn't even look at the ball long enough. He looked and took off.
He took off.
So I just want to say that before I say this, because when you hit a ball 415 feet and hit it up in the air at 109 miles per hour like he did, that should be a homer. That's a homer in like 29 to 30 ballparks. So yes, he should have been on second, but at the same time, I understand what Marcell is doing. Like that was a moonshot and it was only a single. So I see what he's doing. But nonetheless, this team finds ways to win ball games when they're down. Now, this is a great segue to go from the Diamondback series to the Mets series. In that last game, you've got Miguel Castro on the mound, the Arizona Diamondbacks closer. We've seen him with the Mets a few times. We get the bases loaded. Eddie Rosario up to the plate. 2 outs. Now, Eddie does not like to take his walks. He wants to swing the bat.
Yeah.
And if you're Miguel Castro in that situation with 2 outs, and a 1-run lead, you basically have no room for error because if you leave a pitch over the middle of the plate or in the strike zone, Eddie's going to try and hit it. He's the term hitterish. You can use that with Eddie Rosario. He doesn't like to take his walks. He wants to swing the bat. So if you're Miguel Castro, if I'm him, I want to take that to my advantage. I want to make him chase some pitches, throw some pitches out of the zone, and try to make him chase some pitches, especially like John Smoltz said yesterday. When Eddie chases that back foot slider, it's really hard for him to lay off that pitch, and he gets a lot of strikeouts that way. Miguel Castro, I didn't see him doing that. I still saw him attacking Eddie with fastballs in the zone. And when Eddie hit that ball that went over the fence and Pavin Smith lost his glove, I said, wow, we got away with that one because I just don't think that was the right pitch selection for Castro. Eddie hits fastballs really well. I didn't see many off-speed pitches from him.
No, that was dangerous. I mean, you cannot do that to Eddie. You have to attack him like he wants to, like you just said, like he wants to hit everything. You have to hit him, down in the zone, even top of the zone.
Yeah,
you gotta attack. Yeah, you gotta attack it. You can't just leave something over the plate, dead smack in the middle. He's gonna obliterate that.
Yeah. And when Eddie Rosario hit that, the Braves had a happy flight home into an off day. They come home and then they start the comeback train. We start with the first game in the Met series, breaking out the brooms, part 1. We got Orlando Arcia with the go-ahead run, or drives in the go-ahead run, which was Marcell Ozuna after he tied the game with a double, and then the Braves held on from there for the 6-4 victory. Bryce Elder was shaky in the first game. It wasn't the Bryce Elder that we've seen in most of his starts this season. He had a lot of hard hit balls in the air against him. It wasn't the high ground ball rate like we normally saw, but he held the Mets like we said before in check to where he gave the offense a chance. Only gave up 4 runs in those 5 innings. It wasn't the best start from him, but like we said before at the intro to the show, the pitching staff is giving the offense a chance to come back, and that's what they did in this first game.
Yeah, like go back to saying like what we said earlier, man. Like those pitchers trying to stay in 5 to 6 innings. So you know what I'm saying, to keep it level and not tax the bullpen too much, after they made a mistake. So he's stuck in there to like once your boy Pete Alonso running him mouth over there, he woke up Bryce Elder a little bit. Okay.
Yeah, what's funny? Since Pete Alonso yelled "throw it again" from the dugout, taunting Bryce Elder, the Mets got 1 hit since then. One hit since that 3rd inning when Pete Alonso and Francisco Lindor homered, and that was Bryce Elder's worst inning of the season. Two 2-run homers against him in that 4th.
Yeah.
But then the Mets offense went quiet. And that's what's weird about this game, because the Mets aren't a home run hitting team. Yes, you'll get some power from Francisco Alvarez, who's going to be amazing, by the way. He's a stud. You've got Pete Alonso, and then you've got Francisco Lindor. Those are really the only 2 home run hitters. Other than that, the other guys didn't really do their jobs like a classic Mets game, fouling off a lot of pitches, staying in the at-bats, driving in single after single after single, because that's more of what the Mets offense does. Rather than us, which we hit a lot of homers. And this was a good start from Carlos Carrasco until Buck Showalter tried to get greedy and brought him out for a 6th inning. Sean Murphy doubled, and he scored on Marcell Ozuna's tying double off Drew Smith. The game was tied, and then Arcia got the go-ahead run, and that was all she wrote for Game 1. The bullpen held it down, and it was a complete win. Even though the Braves were down 4-1, I felt like they had good at-bats against Carrasco in that 6th inning, and after that, the momentum just swung to the Atlanta side, and they ultimately came away with the win.
Yeah. I was thinking, in the second game and the last game, it's so ironic that we were down 4-1 in the sixth inning, 4-1 in the sixth inning in the last game, and we came back both games.
Yeah, if you take them all in total, the Braves have actually had 4 comeback wins in a row.
Yes.
In each of these, in each game of this Mets series, they were down 3 runs, 4-1, like you said in the second game and first game, and then in this third game, we were down at 1.4, 5-9, when Francisco Alvarez added on with his second home run of the night. So the offense, the never quit with Snit, saying that Chip Carey used to say when he was broadcasting these games, it's truly alive. And another thing that added to the weirdness of this game, with the Mets offense hitting a lot of home runs, Bryce Elder doesn't strike out a lot of guys. He relies on contact, high ground ball rate with double plays. Bryce Elder had 8 strikeouts this game. It was definitely a new version of Bryce Elder that we hadn't seen before. And striking out a Mets team that doesn't strike out a lot, that's a tough task.
Right. Those are the signs of a great pitcher. A great pitcher pitch to contact. They're not trying to pitch around the bat all the time. You know what I mean? Make the batter hit the ball and trust your defense. And what's the theme of the 2 series we just had, man? It just been like the third time around the batting order. That's when we go ahead and attack like a snake. We attack. That third time around the batting order, we ain't seeing everything you had to throw.
Yep. And we'd be remiss not to kind of focus on the Pete Alonso, Bryce Elder throw it again drama. What was your guys' opinions on that? And in the second game when Charlie Morton hit Pete Alonso, do you think there was any intention there?
Oh, you know what I'm gonna say. Go ahead, Will.
I don't think it was any intentions, hint, but it was. You know what I mean? So, like, you know, he probably, all that talking this motherfucker, you know, he probably didn't try to hit him that hard, but yeah, he wanted to give him some of that chin music.
Okay. And what about you?
Yep, I agree. He took the words right out of my mouth. All that crap you was talking, and okay, you did whatever. Okay, here, take this.
I'm just torn between this because for me, what Pete Alonso did, yes, obviously it's funny because the Mets only got 1 hit after that, and the Braves swept the series, and everything went right for the Braves. Everything went wrong for the Mets, and is going wrong for the Mets with a 6-game losing streak. But for me, I don't think that was intentional at all because, and this may be a controversial opinion, I don't think what Pete Alonso did warrants getting thrown at. If you hit one to the concourse, Bryce Elder said it himself. If you hit one 450 feet next to the concourse, I'll want you to throw that pitch again too. So, yes, I think there should have been some trash talking, and there was. You saw Tyler Matzek when Pete Alonso struck out say throw it again from the dugout from the Brave side. But I really don't think there was any intent from Charlie Morton, nor should there have been. And I really like what he did after the game when he went over to Pete Alonso, asked him if he was okay, because unfortunately for the Mets, Pete Alonso is going on the IL. They announced today. So,
which IL he going to, the 15 or the 16?
15.
What'd you say?
15.
So, yeah, Pete Alonso's going to miss some time here, unfortunately, for the Mets. But as we get into the second – oh, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, we really don't, cheer for no players to get injured. But I ain't like – it's like the fan sound like the fan what happened when he got hit. I'm like, oh, man.
Yeah, that was cheering and stuff. That
was terrible.
I ain't like that right there.
That was terrible. I mean, I think that's a bad look. I hope fans, we as a fan base, we never do that again. Because the worst fan base for cheering for an injury I've ever seen is probably Kevin Durant when he tore his Achilles.
Oh man,
Toronto,
that was horrible.
In the 2019 NBA Finals, when they cheered, that was horrible. And this didn't give me those vibes. It wasn't like that. But we still shouldn't cheer at all for an injury. If the guy's walking down to first base like he got hit, he's clear that he's staying in the game and not hurt. Okay, maybe you can go cheer because you threw at Pete Alonso after he was yelling throw it again and taunting our pitcher. But when you got a guy leaving the game and getting hurt and then you cheer, that just can't happen for me. I don't agree with that at all.
Yeah, I didn't like that at all, bro. I'm like, man, in sportsmanship, if you play sports, you already know. We don't like folks to get hurt. We come out here and do this to have fun. We do this for fun. It's fun to us, you know what I'm saying? So, I mean, when you see somebody get hurt, that's a serious situation, man.
Yeah, we take that to heart. People that actually play, play baseball, football, basketball, we take that to heart, man. Like it's like you were saying, Mikey, when you brought up Kevin Durant and his I felt that, man. Like that shit hurt me because I seen that shit pop. Like you can't take that lightly.
Yeah, and Alonso said after the second game, when he got hit, he said, "I guarantee you, if you were to mic both dugouts, you're going to hear certain things that people could take offense to. But for me, I didn't mean anything by it." And I think that's true. The interview he did after the game, like really, I gained a lot of respect for Pete Alonso because what he said, how he handled the situation, diffused it when Charlie Morton went over there. Two veterans doing baseball a good service by showing good sportsmanship. I feel like after the game in both their post-game press conferences. But back to the on the field antics. Sweet. Michael Harris. This was the breakout game for Michael Harris. 3 hits and the game-winning homer off Adam Ottavino to send the Braves into a 7-5 victory. He's come far this season after really, really struggling for the first month and a half. But now, after the second game in the Mets series and last night as well, multi-hit games, the power's back. He's looking like himself. And he made a couple tremendous catches in this series. One thing you can say about Michael, his defense never slumps. That's why he's in
I'm gonna say it started with the Diamondbacks series. He had a lot of hard hit balls in that series. And I started to see him get his confidence swings with that series. So and his defense, like you said, his defense never left. No matter how bad he was hitting, his defense never left. And the funny thing about it, Ozuna the one gave him confidence.
Yep.
It was Ozuna who came and talked to him and gave him confidence. Like you a hell of a player, man. Just come out here and play your game. You'll get right. And he snapped back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and were you gonna say something? Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, piggyback what Will was saying. Those hard hit balls, they was just hit in the wrong spots. I mean, and like if the defenders wasn't in that perfect spot, those would have been hits. So I think that you can't do nothing about that. And the defense, he's always going to be a great defender. I don't think we ever going to have to worry about that.
Yeah. And speaking to your guys' point, Harris said in his post-game press conference, last night Marcel came up to me and gave me the pep talk I needed. Before my last at bat last night, he told me my season was starting, and ever since then I've been hitting the ball hard and seeing it good. So that's huge. That's huge. When you've got a veteran like Marcell Ozuna, obviously, he's had his issues with the off the field stuff, but he's gone through these struggles. He's been through the ups and downs of an MLB season. Harris hasn't done that yet. He had so much success last year. He really hasn't felt that long slumping period that most players go through. So when you've got a guy who's been through that and who got out of it, like Marcell did throughout the past 3 quarters of the season, of 3 quarters of last season and the beginning of this season, you've got a guy who's going to say, okay, yep, Michael Harris, you're the best center in the league, and you can do this. And that's what he's doing right now. The bullpen held it down again after that. Nick Anderson, a 1-hit 8th. He's 4-0, by the way. And then A.J. Minter got 3 straight outs for his 8th save of the season. So when you've got Raisel Iglesias down, you've got a guy who's, yes, he's not – the closer is not his ideal role. But in an emergency, you have 2 closers. So there's some flexibility there. But I think the order of A.J. Minter in the 7th, Nick Anderson in the 8th, and Raisel Iglesias in the ninth is really starting to look set in stone for Brian Snicker, and I think it's working out well.
Yeah, I second that.
I agree. We gave up no runs after that 6 inning. Nothing.
Yeah. So that was huge. And it's weird. It's weird because you go from Oakland with no fans, then you go to Arizona with the weird stadium dimensions. They have a lot of fans there too, but there were a lot of Braves fans. Then you come back to Truist Park, who is at 98% capacity, and the Mets in town for a division rival game, and you come here and sweep them. That's just huge. And multiple Braves had multi-hit games. You had Ronald Acuna, Austin Riley with 2 hits, Marcell Ozuna with 2 hits, Orlando Arcia with 2 hits, continues to be insane. Michael Harris with 3 hits and 3 RBIs as well. So everybody contributed as far as on the offensive end in that second game. Now, on paper, in the third game, when you saw Justin Verlander facing against Spencer Strider, you thought it was going to be a pitching duel, but it wasn't. The offense, it was a slugfest for both teams. Offenses got hot, and ultimately, the Braves got enough offense late in the game to come back. Travis d'Arnaud, Marcell Ozuna, Orlando Arcia, Ozzie Albies with clutch home runs late in the game, and to ultimately, with Ozzie's, win the game when he sent that liner over the chop house in right field to win the game 13-10. I mean, just a crazy game.
It's back-to-back night for Ozzie. Back-to-back big hit.
And both on the left side.
Speaking of the offense, it was what I'm thinking about. I'm talking about the Mets. It was a desperation move there. He said he was out doing the dude was coaching like he was in the 7th game of the World Series right now and still couldn't get the win. He was doing everything to try to get that win out the Braves' hand and couldn't get it. And that's what I like about this team. They fight. I don't care how much I don't like Brian Snicker at times, but up under his tutelage, every year these boys fight. They always been a late inning team to fight through the game. They always been there up under his tutelage.
That's true.
So that's what I can say about him. Sometimes I don't like his shenanigans and everything, but up under him they don't quit. I can say that for sure.
Yeah,
that's for sure. I was gonna say something. I forgot. They'll come back to me.
You good? What did you guys think of Buck Showalter's comments after the game? Because he said he was proud of how his guys competed, scoring 10 runs off of one of the best pitchers in the game when he was starting in Spencer Strider. But he said, "I'm proud of the guys and how they competed tonight." As far as the pitching goes, like, what do you guys think? What do you guys think about his comments? Is it more like consolation prize, or do you think, if you're a player on that team or a fan of the Mets, that you like Buck's comments after the game?
I don't know. I mean, okay, I'll put it like this. I think we were all expecting much more from the Mets coming into the season. They've been a huge disappointment.
Yeah.
So I think he's, meddling in the middle, like trying to give them confidence for, standing up to, one of the best teams in the whole league. So,
okay. I see what you're saying there. Will, what about you?
Well, the Braves got the Mets fan in shambles right now, man. Like,
yeah, that's true. I was in some Twitter Spaces yesterday. It was hilarious. Mets fans were.
They can't stand Atlanta right now. They can't stand the drinking water we drink right now, man. I'm telling you, it's crazy. But we own the Mets for I don't know how long. We own the Mets for years, man. I don't
6
care
straight wins
who's
at Truist
coaching
Park.
right now. Yes, we own the Mets, man. And it's just like it brings up another notch when we play within our division. We don't care how bad or how good the teams are. It'll always be a fight. So it brings it up another notch. So I just think I just think he just got outplayed. I wouldn't say he got outcoached because he threw his star pitchers out there. They just got outplayed. The Braves outlasted the pitchers. They outlasted the pitchers. Because Schwarzer, whatever the one with the two colorful name is, Scherzer, him and Verlander, they was striking us out, man. But we stayed the core and we outlasted them, and we was able to get to them. That's all it was. I wouldn't say he got outcoached. He just got outplayed by the players.
Yeah, they got outplayed. Yeah.
And how this game started when Austin Riley hit that homer to go up 2-0, and then Starling Marte with that error, that costly error, to allow Travis d'Arnaud to score off that Eddie single. That was hilarious, by the way. The ball did not even hit his glove. He just didn't bend down to get the ball. I saw the ball go down his glove. He's like, oh my goodness, what a nightmare start for the Mets.
Bro, that's why I put that in the chat yesterday. I still don't understand what was he looking at.
Yeah. Like
he looked like Jeff Francoeur out there. You remember Francoeur did that? He played with the Phillies. When he played with the Phillies, he did that. He about 3-4 times he couldn't pick the ball up.
Yeah, he did. So, but when Austin Riley hit that homer and the Braves were up 3-0 after the error, we thought this game was going to be cruising when Strider was on the mound, But I will say this about the Mets. The Mets may not be able to win against the Braves, but they can beat Spencer Strider. He, for some reason, just cannot pitch well against the Mets. After that first inning, I thought, okay, maybe he figured out something against them. But unfortunately, after the Braves came back, after they got that lead, Spencer Strider then surrounded 1-1. We were like, okay, Brandon Nimmo coming up to the plate with 2 outs. He lays a fastball right down Peachtree for Brandon Nimmo on the first pitch. It was only 95 miles per hour as well. And Brandon Nimmo lined it into the seats in the chop house for a grand slam. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, you can't.
The reason he can't beat the Mets is because he got 2 pitches. The Mets are a good fastball hitting team. He got to throw some change ups and some curveball. He got to change their eye level. Their eye levels are set. See, the thing is, when you throwing fastball and sliders, they usually be on the same course. You know what I'm saying? The slider just slide left to right or right to left. You know what I'm saying? But they on the same course pretty much. The movement. You feel what I'm saying?
Yep. Strider allowed 5 runs in that second inning.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then they continued in the 4th when Alvarez hit a 2-run homer and a solo homer in the 6th as well. Strider's ERA ballooned after this to already 3.79 when it was below 3 before. So hopefully we know he can get that back down. The velocity wasn't there, the location wasn't there, and the command wasn't there. This is one of Strider's worst starts of his career, to be honest. And the Braves won the game. So that just kind of shows you what kind of team we are.
Man, Mike, I'm glad you said that because I think I said this on Twitter. Each 3 games, each of our pitchers, our starting pitchers, was not having a best outing. And as bad as our pitching was, the Mets still couldn't beat us. Like that's crazy to me. Like that just shows you what type of offense that we have, top to bottom. Like it's scary.
Yeah. I think the biggest thing in the 3rd game, and you guys, I'll get you guys to chime in this as well. Actually, I'll go last. We'll start with you, Will. When did you think in that 3rd game that the Braves, there's a possibility we can win this game, even though we were down 10-6 or 9-5 at one point?
The reason why I thought we had a chance to win because it was still early. It was like 9-5 in the 4th inning or something like that.
Let me double check.
If I'm not mistaken, we was down. It was like 8-4 in the 4th inning or something like that. We was down right now. Like it's still early. We got time. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
as long as we get our
8-4.
pitchers, you know what I mean, to hold it close, we get a chance. But every time the Braves kept getting close, it was like the Mets added on more runs.
Yep.
But I think I really started believing in right when it got to like that seventh inning. No, that wasn't. Yeah, it was like the eighth inning, I think. And I say if we get 2 runs here, we got a chance to win this game. And they end up scoring exactly 2 runs that inning.
Yep, with that legendary Chipper Jones home run call after Travis Darno hit the homer to left field. And what about you? What was the moment when you realized that I think we can win this game?
You know, I'm gonna go further than that. I'm gonna say when we tied the game back up in the 9th inning again, and then come 10th inning, 2 hits again. Like, I mean, no, not 2 hits, 2 outs again. And Ozzie, I mean, it's like it's effortless.
Yeah,
like you throw that ball right down the middle. You can't do that, Ozzie, man. Like these guys, they hunt for that fastball.
Yep, best fastball hitting team in the league for a reason.
Hey, did y'all see the referee? The referee give us a strike back.
Oh,
they called
did.
A strike. He struck out Ozuna on a strike that wasn't a strike, but he gave it right back to Arcia and gave him an extra at bat before he hit that home run. Because Arcia was striked out. He was struck out.
Yeah, I seen that.
He went around on that pitch. He went around.
Yeah, he went around.
But he got
everybody know.
Yeah, he got an extra strike.
Definitely.
But it was some bad umpiring in this game.
Oh, that was it. It was
I didn't know if you were done. And my fault if I couldn't.
No, you good. I was done. Yeah, you hit it right on the head.
For me, I'm actually going to go in the top of the 8th inning. Jesse Chavez on the mound. Has a little bit of control issues. Walks 2 people, then a single. Now, this is Jesse Chavez in a Braves uniform we're talking about. It's not Jesse Chavez on the Angels or any of the other teams he's been on. It's Jesse Chavez on the Braves. You know what he does on the Braves? Comes up clutch. He strikes out Omar Narvaez. He strikes out Brandon Nimmo. And he's like walking off the mound. Yeah, that's what I do. He got himself into a little bit of trouble. But the Mets don't score with bases loaded, 1 out. From then on, I was like, oh, we have all the momentum coming into the dugout. Yeah. What happens? Travis Darno, homer. What happens then? Orlando Arcia, homer. Ozzie Albies, homer. Like we just after that, the momentum shifted after Jesse Chavez got out of that jam, that bases loaded jam with 1 out. And I feel like that was the turning point where I said, we can come back, definitely. The momentum's on our side. The Mets didn't score here. Travis Darno delivers, and then Orlando Arcia and Ozzie Albies take care of the rest.
I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's the heritage in the Braves uniform or whatever, but we able to turn somebody garbage pitcher into some gold every time they come to the team, man. I'm talking about the Chavez. Everywhere else, he sucked. I'm talking about ERA 6, 7 point something. Everywhere else, he come down here, he's throwing a 2 point or 3 point something. You know what I'm saying? He a whole different pitcher down here.
Yeah, he is. So it's honestly really great to see Jesse Chavez continue to be successful. I mean, it's our bullpen is filled with veteran guys. I mean, he's obviously the oldest guy in the pen, but it's a group of guys who've mostly been in the league. I mean, you have AJ Smith-Shawver, who's going to start tonight, which we'll get to in a minute. And he was the youngest guy in the pen. Now he's starting. So all this group of guys in our bullpen is full of veterans. They know they've been in situations countless times. And when you pitch yourself into trouble, they know how to pitch out of it. And I think that's a quality that you need, especially late in games against your division rivals. And that's what Jesse did.
Yeah.
While we were in that series, or just before the Mets series, we got word that the Braves traded for right-handed pitcher Ben Heller, who was in the Rays organization in their AAA. He's logged 27 1/3 innings, with a 3.9 ERA, 26% strikeout rate, 6.1% walk rate, and 49% ground ball rate. Another one of those sinker ballers similar to Bryce Elder that gets the ball on the ground a lot. It's more bullpen depth, and especially with Dylan Lee down, and we got Michael Tonkin back. Hopefully he can return to his form before he got hurt, but who knows? So any bullpen help that we can get, the better. So I'm excited to see what he can do when we first see him for his Braves debut in the pen.
Hey, man, in Double-A, I trust. What he do, I'm going with. In Double-A, I trust.
Will said it.
Yeah. As we get into the night, so the main thing about tonight, now our series is against the Nationals, and coming from a Mets series that has big implications, division rival, the Mets are a great team, to a Washington Nationals team that's rebuilding, and it's going to feel like a less of an important game. But the Braves can't do that. What's the mindset going into this National Series that says, okay, we still have to play our hearts out, we still have to play as hard as we can to extend this winning streak and get a comfortable division lead over those Marlins?
I'm thinking trap game. You cannot let your foot off the gas pedal against this team. Like they'll sneak up on you. I mean, we've seen this happen in years past where we'll play a lesser team like the Nats or somebody or the Marlins, and we play down to their competition, and we lose. We can't allow that to happen. We got to play our A game. We can't play their B game. We can't do that.
Yeah. And tonight, Washington Nationals have Josiah Gray on the mound, and like I said before, we have AJ Smith-Shawver. What are you guys looking to see from AJ Smith-Shawver in his starting debut in the MLB? We know he had good stuff from that bullpen in the Diamondback series, but Will, what are you specifically looking for him off that starting mound?
Hey, man, I just need him to breathe, take his time, and do like he did when he came out from the bullpen game. Don't let the lights be too big for you. Just throw your stuff. Do what you've been doing that got you to this point. Don't let the lights change the way you play. You know what I'm saying? Just come out. I mean, let the catcher. We all know the catchers are the most important part out there. We all know that. They call the game.
Sean Murphy's behind the plate.
Just let the catcher guide you. You know what I mean? Let him guide you. We got two veteran catchers. Let him guide you to a good game. You know what I mean? Just don't do too much arguing with him. Go with it. You know what I'm saying? If y'all have a disagreement, y'all talk it over. But just don't let the lights be too big for you.
Gotcha. And for me, the key is the first inning. And I've said this on the show many times. With any rookie starting pitcher, once they get that first out, it seems like they can settle down. But we saw this with Jared Schuster, Dylan Dodd, Kodai Senga for the Mets in his first start of the year against the Marlins. He had bases loaded. Then he got out of it once he got one out. So once you get that first out, settle down, lock into that zone of yours, and make sure you do you, like Will was saying. Because if you get a couple runners on to start, that's when you can't panic. You got to get that first out and then settle in. So the key for me is getting off to a good start with any rookie pitcher. What about you, Ant? What's your key for AJ to have a great first MLB start?
Yeah, I'm gonna say control. Control what you can control. Don't walk anybody. I mean, even if you do walk somebody, stay focused on the batter. Like, you utilize that great defense that you have behind you. Don't allow that base runner to distract you from your number one goal, which is get that batter out.
Yeah, 100%. And the Nationals, Josiah Gray, has given us a little bit of trouble in the past. We beat him earlier this year in the first series of the year, but especially last year when he pitched his first full season in Washington after the Max Scherzer and Trey Turner deal the year before, he pitched really well against us for multiple starts. So let's see if we can continue our success from last time we saw against Josiah Gray. Let's see if we can do that again, because most of the hitters on the Braves haven't really had that much success against him. I mean, Olson's 2 for 5, Riley's 2 for 13. Everybody else only has one hit, and except for Ozzie Albies, who's 4 for 9, who he's had a good at bats against Josiah Gray, but really nobody else has. So hopefully we can turn that around tonight and keep the momentum flowing on that offensive end on the offensive side, because we know the offense was there to pick up the pitching staff in that Met series. Let's see if they can do it again in the National Series, and let's see if the pitching staff and the lineup can work hand in hand this time to not have to pick each other up. They both can work together at that same time going against a weaker Nationals team.
Yep. One cohesive unit.
Exactly. Any other thoughts before we move on to a little bit of Hawks talk?
Nah, we good. We saying everything.
All right. So the NBA draft, less than a month away, June 22nd. Now, I know we may not know all of the prospects in the draft yet, and when the week before the draft on that show, we'll definitely be discussing who the Hawks can get at 15 and in more depth. But just to get a preview, an overarching question, who do you guys want the Hawks to look at more? A low ceiling guy who's more of plug and play, you know what you're going to get out of him? Or would you want a high risk, high reward guy that might not play his first season, but if he turns out to be great, he might have a higher ceiling than a guy that we draft who's just a plug and play player immediately? Who would you want to see us draft?
Go ahead, Will.
No there?
Go ahead, Will.
Yeah, they trying to take me out the game, man. I think we at the point right now where we just need consistent shooters around Trey. We need consistent shooters. We got a point guard who's willing to get the ball to you. We got a number 2 player who's willing to take over when Trae Young is not good. We just need consistent shooters around this team right now. That's it.
So you want to draft more of just a 3 and D player, so a guy that can plug and play, who's not really a raw prospect.
Right. I want you to be able to play. I mean, be able to make threes consistently, and to be able to play defense. I mean, be a net. Just get in the way of your the player you're defending. Just get in the way. I don't need you to be all world NBA defensive player. Just get in the way.
Gotcha. And what about you?
Yeah, plug and play.
Plug and play.
Look, yeah. We need somebody that's going. I don't want to say that the people that we have don't show effort on defense, but we need better effort on defense because the talent is there, but nobody's executing it on the court, especially on defense.
Yeah. For me, it's a really tough decision because if you get a plug-and-play player, it takes away minutes from the guys on the bench that we want to give minutes to, like Sadiq Bey, Jalen Johnson, AJ Griffin, Bogdan Bogdanovic. These guys want to play a lot off the bench this year. So if we get a plug-and-play player, I don't know how much he plays. Similarly, if we get a high-risk, high-reward player, he'll go off to the G League, he'll get better. But even then, he doesn't help the team this year. So I'm just kind of torn because there's really no clear decision in my mind. I think what they'll do is go for a plug and play player because we're more in win now mode than rebuild mode. But I don't see him getting a lot of minutes. Whoever we draft, I won't see him getting a lot of minutes this year just because we already have guys off the bench that really need to play. We could trade John Collins and have Jalen Johnson start. I don't think that's going to happen. I really don't. But if that does, then that opens up some minutes at power forward for somebody to play. But we'll see. I just don't think it's looking likely that the guy we draft this year is going to get a lot of playing time.
I don't think Jaden Johnson's ready for that.
Yeah, I don't think so. Yeah, he's great, but I don't think he's ready for that quite yet. I do think Onyeka Okongwu, though, is ready to start. I think we're more likely to trade Clint Capella than John Collins this season just because of the value we can get for Capella and the readiness of Okongwu over Jalen Johnson. I do think Capella, unfortunately, will be gone. I love Capella. I love what he's done for the team as far as rebounding, being one of the best offensive rebounders in the league last year. But I think it's probably best organization-wise for us to move on from him and get our value and move Onyeka into that starting lineup to start next season.
Yeah, I think we all agree on that.
Yeah. Any other points before we end it there?
You got anything else, Will?
Doesn't look like it. So, with that being said, thanks for tuning in tonight, guys. Really appreciate it. Hopefully, you'll join us next week at the same time, 6 p.m. Eastern time. We got some more Hawks and Braves content on the way for y'all. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe if you're on YouTube, and we'll see you guys next time. Peace.
Peace out, y'all.